Have you ever wondered why some men never have to chase women, yet women chase them like a magnet? What is it that makes certain men irresistible, not because of their looks or money, but because of something deeper, something unshakable? If you've ever loved and lost, if you've ever tried to impress a woman and ended up feeling invisible, or if you've ever felt confused about what truly attracts a woman on a soul level, then this video is for you. Because today we're diving into 7 psychological tricks rooted in Stoic philosophy and inspired by the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius that will make any woman deeply obsessed with your presence. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and stay until the end. Because one insight in this video could change the way you see love and attraction forever. 1. Control your emotions. Have you ever had that one woman who made your heart beat faster the moment she looked at you? Maybe you remember the first time she smiled. It wasn't just a smile, right? It felt like the world slowed down for a moment. You wanted her. You wanted her attention, her love, her approval. But then something happened. Maybe she started pulling away. Maybe she became distant. And you found yourself checking your phone every few minutes, wondering why she hadn't replied. You told yourself, maybe she's busy, but deep down, you knew something shifted. And that's when the emotions take over. You text more, you overthink, you try harder. You start reacting, and without even realizing it, you hand over your power. You see, my friend, women don't lose interest because they stop liking you. They lose interest when they feel your emotions start to control you, instead of you controlling them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That line isn't just philosophy, it's the secret behind every emotionally powerful man who effortlessly attracts women. Because here's the truth. When you can master your emotions, you become unpredictable, magnetic, and mysterious. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sitting across from her. She's testing you, saying something teasing, something meant to spark jealousy. Most men fall right into that trap. They get defensive, emotional, insecure. They try to prove their worth, but not you. You just smile. You stay calm. You let silence do the talking. She looks at you, waiting for a reaction, but it never comes. And suddenly she's intrigued. Why didn't you react? Doesn't it bother you? Do you care? Or are you just that confident? Now she's thinking about you. She's replaying that moment. You've planted curiosity, and curiosity is the seed of attraction. That's the power of emotional control. It doesn't mean you're cold or heartless. It means you've built an inner peace so strong that nothing outside can shake it. Remember that time she stopped replying and you felt an urge to double text? That's your mind craving control. But here's the Stoic secret. When you stop reacting, you take back your power. Because silence in the right moment is louder than words. Every woman subconsciously tests a man's emotional strength. Not to destroy him, but to trust him. She wants to see if you can stay calm when things get messy. Because life gets messy. Relationships get emotional. And a woman doesn't just want love. She wants safety. And the only man who can give her that safety is the man who has mastered himself. So next time you feel the urge to chase, to react, to over-explain, pause. Take a breath. Smile slightly. Let her feel your calm. Because emotional control isn't just attractive, it's hypnotic. It's the fire of mystery that keeps her coming back, wondering how a man like you can remain so unshaken. That, my friend, is how a Stoic man creates obsession, not through words, not through gifts, but through emotional mastery, through purpose over pleasure. Have you ever fallen so deeply for someone that you started to forget who you were? You stopped doing the things you loved, stopped chasing your goals, and your world slowly began to revolve around her. You'd wake up thinking about her. You'd go to sleep checking her messages, and in between, your dreams, your purpose, started to fade. Sound familiar? Every man goes through this at least once. You meet a woman who feels like home, but somewhere along the way, you lose yourself trying to make her stay. You stop being the man she was first drawn to. The man who had direction, who had ambition, who had fire. And here's the irony. The very moment you give up your mission for a woman, she begins to lose attraction, not because she's cruel, but because she feels you've lost your edge. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Think about that for a second. If your ambition dies, what happens to your worth in her eyes? Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel. He wasn't rich, but he had a dream to start his own business. Every morning, he'd wake up early, plan his day, and work tirelessly. Then one day, he met a woman who stole his heart. At first, she admired his drive. She'd say, "I love how focused you are." But months later, he started prioritizing her over his goals. He stopped working late nights, stopped chasing his vision. He became available all the time, thinking that's what love is. But soon she became distant. Her messages got shorter. Her interest faded. One day she said, "You're not the same anymore." That sentence shattered him, but it was true. He wasn't the man she fell for. And that's when he realized women fall in love with direction, not dependency. A man with purpose walks differently. He talks differently. There's a focus in his eyes, a rhythm in his actions. He doesn't chase pleasure. He creates meaning. He doesn't run behind validation. He runs toward his vision. When you have a mission, every part of your life aligns. Your energy feels grounded. Your words carry conviction. You become rare because most men these days are distracted, lost in temporary pleasures and instant gratification. But not the Stoic man. He wakes up each morning asking, "What can I build today that will outlast my emotions?" And here's the beautiful part. When you live like that, love doesn't run from you, it finds you. Because women are not obsessed with men who need them. They're obsessed with men who are going somewhere. A man of purpose doesn't chase love. He attracts it along the path of his mission. So, brother, before you chase another woman, chase your potential. Because when you walk with direction, every step you take becomes magnetic. When you live for something greater than pleasure, you become the man every woman secretly dreams of. The man she can trust, admire and follow. Purpose first, pleasure second. That's how a Stoic man builds attraction that lasts a lifetime. 3. The power of absence. Have you ever been in love with someone who used to light up your phone with messages, but now, silence? The calls stopped. The replies became slower, and suddenly you're left with only memories. The sound of her laugh, the way she looked at you, the feeling of her hand in yours. And in that silence, your mind starts racing. You think about her more now than when she was around. You replay every word, every smile, every goodbye. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes it's the absence of a person that makes them more powerful than their presence ever did. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And when you're constantly thinking of someone, their energy lives in your mind, even when they're gone. This is the secret most men never understand. Presence creates comfort, but absence creates obsession. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Adrian. He loved a woman deeply. He gave her his time, his attention, his heart. At first, she was all over him, calling, texting, showing up just to see him. But over time, she began to pull away. She got comfortable. His constant availability made his energy predictable. One day, Adrian stopped reaching out. Not out of anger, but peace. He focused on his life, his work, his growth. Days passed, then weeks. And suddenly her messages started again. "Hey, how have you been? I was just thinking about you." You see, absence doesn't push people away. It reminds them of what they're missing. When you give someone your energy constantly, they get used to it. They stop valuing it. But when you step back, your silence becomes an echo in their mind. They start to feel your presence in your absence. It's not about playing games. It's about restoring balance. If you're always available, she never gets to miss you. And what the heart misses, it values. Absence is powerful because it creates reflection. When you're gone, she starts asking herself questions. Did he move on? Why isn't he chasing me? Was I too cold? And while she's asking those questions, she's emotionally investing again. This time, without you even being there. That's what true power is, to affect someone's emotions from a distance. But remember, absence only works when it's backed by purpose. You can't disappear out of insecurity or neediness. You disappear because you're busy becoming better, because your time and energy are sacred, not something you hand over freely. When a woman realizes that your attention is a privilege, not a guarantee, that's when she starts cherishing it. So, my friend, learn the art of absence. Step back. Let her feel the void your presence once filled. Let your silence whisper what words never could. Because when you stop chasing, she starts remembering. And when you focus on yourself, she feels your energy stronger than ever, even when you're miles away. That's the power of absence. It turns distance into desire, and silence into the loudest message of all. 4. Emotional availability without weakness. Have you ever cared so much for a woman that you forgot how to care for yourself? You wanted to be there for her, to listen, to understand, to comfort. And you did. You listened to her pain. You wiped her tears. You stayed up late just to make sure she felt okay. But somewhere in that process, you started feeling drained. You felt like you were giving more than you were receiving. And the painful truth, the more you gave, the less she seemed to value it. Sound familiar? Most men mistake emotional availability for emotional dependency. They think being there for a woman means losing themselves in her emotions, trying to fix everything, trying to make her happy, even at the cost of their own peace. But here's the Stoic truth Marcus Aurelius taught us. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And being a good man doesn't mean being weak or overgiving. It means having the strength to understand her without letting her emotions consume you. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Leo. He loved a woman who was emotional, passionate, but unpredictable. Some days she'd be deeply affectionate, other days distant and cold. Every time she was upset, Leo rushed to fix things. He apologized even when he wasn't wrong. He thought, maybe if I show her how much I care, she'll love me more. But the opposite happened. She began to lose respect. She felt his energy become anxious, his presence too available. One day, after another argument, Leo finally did something different. Instead of explaining himself, he simply listened, quietly, patiently. He didn't interrupt. He didn't react. He just let her speak. When she finished, he looked at her and said calmly, I understand how you feel, but I won't let anger control how we treat each other. That silence, that composure, changed everything. She stopped talking, looked at him differently. For the first time, she felt his strength. You see, women don't want a man who absorbs all their emotions. They want a man who can handle them without breaking. A man who listens deeply but stands firmly. That's what emotional availability without weakness really means. It's not about being a rock with no feelings. It's about being the shore where her emotional waves can crash, without you being swept away. Because when a woman sees that you can listen to her storm without becoming part of it, she begins to trust you on a level most men never reach. So, the next time she's emotional, don't rush to fix her. Don't defend, don't react, don't beg for peace. Just be peace. Let your calm energy remind her of what stability feels like. Let your silence say, I understand you, but I don't lose myself in your chaos. That's when she'll see you differently, not as another man, desperate for approval, but as a pillar she can lean on. And that, my friend, is emotional availability without weakness, love with strength, care without collapse, because the man who can listen without losing himself becomes unforgettable. 5. The art of silence. Have you ever noticed how the people who talk the least often leave the strongest impression? Maybe it was a girl you once liked. She said very little, but her silence had a presence. You found yourself thinking about what she meant instead of what she said. Now imagine flipping that energy. Imagine you being the man who creates that same effect. Most men believe attraction is built by talking more, by showing off, sharing everything, filling every silence. But the truth is, the more you reveal, the less room you leave for curiosity. And curiosity, my friend, is the oxygen of attraction. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. When you talk too much, when you overshare, you give away your mystery. You hand over control." Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Raphael, charismatic, funny, confident, but every time he liked a woman, he couldn't stop talking. He'd tell her everything, his dreams, his past, his struggles, all in the first few weeks. He thought being real would make her love him. But what happened? She pulled away, slowly, gently, until one day she said, "You're sweet, but I don't feel that spark." Then came Adrian, her next love interest. Quiet, reserved. He didn't talk much, but when he did, his words had weight. He didn't try to impress her, he just was. And that silence drove her wild. She started thinking about him constantly. What's he thinking? Why is he so calm? Does he even like me? You see, that's the secret. Silence makes people think. It turns you into a mystery. And people always chase what they can't fully understand. But silence isn't about ignoring her. It's about knowing when not to speak. When a woman throws emotional bait, trying to trigger you, test you, or pull you into drama, most men react immediately. The Stoic man, however, pauses. He lets silence speak for him, because silence says, "I'm not desperate." It says, "I'm grounded." It says, "You can't control me with emotion." That kind of control is magnetic. Silence also creates emotional contrast. When you do speak, every word matters. Your voice carries weight because it's not fighting for attention. It commands it. And in a world filled with noise, your calmness becomes her peace. So, my friend, practice the art of saying less. When you're with her, listen more than you speak. Observe more than you explain. Let her feel the strength of your stillness. Because silence builds tension, the good kind. It makes her lean in, not because you're hiding something, but because she wants to discover you. And remember this, mystery doesn't come from pretending to be someone you're not. It comes from being so sure of who you are that you don't need to prove it. When a woman can't read you, she'll think about you. When she can't predict you, she'll dream about you. And when she can't control you, she'll chase you. That, my friend, is the art of silence. Where words fail, your energy speaks. Because the man who masters silence doesn't need to impress anyone. He is the impression. 6. The confidence of non-reactivity. Have you ever been in that moment where she suddenly pulls away, stops replying, goes cold or gives you attitude, and you feel that urge to react? To text her, to call her, to ask what's wrong, to fix it instantly, because you can't stand the silence. We've all been there, that burning desire for reassurance, that anxious feeling that maybe you did something wrong, maybe she's losing interest. But here's the hard truth. It's not her distance that weakens you, it's your reaction to it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In other words, never let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Ethan, deeply in love, loyal, kind. But he had one weakness. He needed validation. Every time his girlfriend didn't respond quickly, his heart would race. He'd double text, call, or send long messages explaining how he felt ignored. He thought honesty would bring them closer, but instead, it pushed her away. Why? Because every time he reacted emotionally, he taught her one thing, that she had power over his peace. One day she pulled away again, but this time Ethan did something different. He didn't text. He didn't chase. He went for a run, read, focused on his work, and for the first time, he chose calm over chaos. A few days later, she texted him first. "Hey, I've been thinking about you." That's when he realized the truth. The less you chase validation, the more validation comes to you. Women test men's emotional strength, not because they want to hurt them, but because they want to feel safe with them. They want to know that when life gets hard, you won't crumble. When you're non-reactive, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. My emotions are mine. You don't control them. It's not about ignoring her. It's about mastering yourself. If she cancels plans, stay composed. If she goes silent, stay focused. If she flirts with others to test you, smile calmly, because your worth isn't tied to her actions. When you react emotionally, you chase validation. When you stay calm, you become the validation. And here's the irony. Women feel more drawn to the man who doesn't try to win them, because he's already won himself. Non-reactivity is confidence in its purest form. It's the quiet voice that says, "I choose peace over panic." So the next time you feel that urge to react, pause. Take a deep breath. Let your silence carry the message your words never could. Because true confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It simply is. And when you reach that level of calm power, she'll sense it, not in your words, but in your energy. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who cannot be shaken. The man who doesn't chase validation, because he already carries it within. 7. The courage to walk away. Have you ever held on to someone long after you knew they didn't value you anymore? You tell yourself, maybe she'll change, maybe she'll come back, maybe if I love her harder, she'll finally see my worth. But deep down, you know the truth. She stopped appreciating you the moment she realized you were too afraid to walk away. This, right here, is the final test of your value as a man. Not how much you can love her, not how much you can tolerate, but whether you have the courage to let go when respect is no longer present. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel. He loved a woman deeply, gave her his time, his energy, his loyalty. But over time, she started pulling away. She would cancel plans, ignore his messages, and treat his love like it was always guaranteed. Daniel felt it, that quiet ache in his chest every time she acted cold. But he kept holding on. He thought walking away meant losing her. In truth, it meant finding himself. One evening, after yet another argument where she said, "Maybe we're just not right for each other," something clicked in his mind. He realized he had spent months trying to prove his worth to someone who had already made up her mind. So he didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply said, "Maybe you're right," and walked away. And for the first time, she went silent. Because that silence wasn't weakness, it was power. It was the sound of a man choosing his peace over his pain. Walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop sacrificing your dignity for someone who doesn't see your value. It's not about pride. It's about self-respect. When you have the courage to walk away, something magical happens. You shift the power dynamic. You show her that your love is a gift, not an obligation. And often, that's the moment she wakes up and sees what she's losing. Because the truth is, no one respects what they can easily control. When you stay after being disrespected, you teach her that she can cross your boundaries without consequence. But when you walk away calmly, with silence and certainty, you teach her that your presence must be earned. Stoicism teaches us that freedom begins where attachment ends. The man who can walk away, even from what he loves, is the man who truly owns himself. So if you're watching this right now, maybe this is your sign. Maybe it's time to stop waiting for her to see your worth and start living like you already know it. Because the courage to walk away isn't the end of love. It's the beginning of self-respect. And once you master that, you become the man no woman ever truly gets over. Closing reflection. Let's be honest. Women aren't truly obsessed with looks or money. They're obsessed with presence. A man who knows who he is. A man who doesn't chase attention because he already lives with purpose. A man who's not ruled by emotion, but guided by virtue. Marcus Aurelius wasn't teaching us how to get women. He was teaching us how to master ourselves. Because once you master your emotions, your purpose, your silence, everything else naturally falls into place. When you live by these 7 Stoic principles, you stop chasing love. Love starts chasing you. Because the greatest magnet in the world is a man at peace with himself. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,